Let's see who's on. If you guys come on, give it a like, thumbs up, share it out. Let's go here, and I'm gonna do stop. Okay. Then go menu. Oh, here. I'm gonna go menu here. You want a TV? Hey Tanya, what's up? Let me see who's coming in. Can you hear me okay? Menu on the TV. I don't know, this thing is always weird to me. Info. Hey, Flatbed, what's up, y'all? Wait for a few people to come in. How you guys doing? Hey, Jay, what's up, baby? He said, what's up, Saints and the wages. What's the name? Jackie Hill Perry and Saints and Ain'ts. Oh, man. How y'all doing? I'm okay. Tired. Today I've been working on the living room. Y'all still see I got to get behind me, but let me do this so y'all can kind of see. Y'all can see my living room. So all that had a bunch of junk in it. There's still some bins there, but that had junk, so I still got, and y'all see over there in the hallway, those are things from when I first moved in. I think those got some paint in them, but they might be old, so I'm gonna be throwing that away. And then I got stuff there. So I'm still working on organization. That's what I'm doing. Turn y'all back around. All right. So I've been working on that, but today I had a rotisserie. A friend of mine had sold it. His mom gave it to him. This was, I don't know if y'all ever heard of this. It's a catalog company called Jenny's, Ginnys. And I had a rotisserie. Oh, let me say this before I get started. Y'all remind me of the name. I think her name is Stephania Bird or something like that. I'm going to talk about her comment and Trickerette, but she's new. So thank you for your comment. I want to talk about it. I think it's a good comment because I'm going to come from my perspective, but I think it was a good comment. And I'm going to summarize it. YouTube, I think they blocked it. But I have a software, because once you have a certain number of numbers, there's other software we get. So I have a software that lets me still see comments that were posted. And so I saw her comment. I didn't have a problem with your comment being posted, but I think YouTube blocked it. And I'm going to talk about it because I think it's a topic that needs to be talked about. Whether I necessarily agree with the person or not, I just think that you can't hear me. Can anybody else not hear me? Can everybody hear me? That's weird. Can you hear me? Okay, Flatbed could hear me. Anybody else can't hear me? Okay, Tanya. Tell Tanya to restart her. She might have to restart. Okay. Okay. Y'all type a note in there to tell Tanya to restart her phone or whatever and to jump back in. Because she may need to restart her phone. Because we do have sound. Anyway, I'm going to go back to that. I hope she understands to restart her phone. So anyway, a friend of mine had sold me, it's a toaster oven. It was a toaster oven. It had a griddle maker on top. It had rotisserie thing, and it's by a company called Jenny's, and they did a catalog. Back in the day, I think that thing was about a couple $100. So a friend of mine, his name was Anthony, one of my buddies back in my party days. He was into his cigarettes and his liquor. His mama gave him his girl, I ain't gonna use that. I need some money. And it was free to me. $25. So I gave him 25 bucks. And well, I was giving him other money times. And there was times he stayed with me rent free. So it was, it's an even call. So I had it for several years and I used to do some amazing rotisserie chickens in it. But it was in storage since 2016 and I really hadn't used it. When I moved in here, the thing that I love the rotisserie chickens that came out of it, but I'm gonna try to get a rotisserie adapter for the smoker. And the other issue was it gets really hot. It produces a lot of heat. This kitchen didn't have a lot of shelf space. And where I could sit, it would take up almost a whole counter on the kitchen counter. My other concern was that where I could sit, it would be sitting under another cabinet. And to me, it was too hot. I didn't want to catch anything on fire. Where I had it on my baker's rack, I have my spices. And a lot of spices don't come in glass, they come in plastic bottles. So I didn't want to use it there because then my plastic bottles might melt. So I hadn't been using it. I have a little toaster oven that I use more. It's quick, it's easy. I ain't gonna say it's perfect, but I had it on my truck. And so I use that more. And I do have two microwaves. So I'm now gonna move one of the microwaves, which I haven't been using, which I could utilize too if I'm heating up more than one thing. I'm gonna move it over to that baker's rack. And I'll let y'all see the kitchen after I get it all set up. So I took it to Goodwill today. So I had to do a Goodwill run, drop it off. I had just a few other things I wanted to drop off, and I'll probably have a lot more for them here in the near future. And do that. And then I needed to run to the grocery store for some fresh produce because, as I told you, the garden and the heat bit the dust. I need to get a drip system in there. It just got too hot going in and out there. And then I think my water calculation is off. So I was either overwatering or underwatering and just stuff didn't do good. And then I also had my friendly neighborhood lizards that they living back there like, hey, when you gonna feed us again? I haven't grown no lettuce because every time I had a good little supply of lettuce growing. I come out there and it'd be bites. It'd be get about this tall and all of a sudden it'd be down to this. And then they let it grow up a little bit. And then finally when I stopped watering it, they got it down. They ate it down to the roots. And then so then I was like, okay, well maybe I need to grow some lettuce for them and for me. And my friend said, I want to know when you tell them which one is for you and which one is for them. So that's what's going. I hope Tanya got restarted in here, Radio Check. Anyway, y'all, I hope you guys are being blessed. I've just got a couple of things I was going to talk about. If y'all got some stuff. I got a couple of comments. One truckerette asked me about work from home jobs because I did it I went home during the pandemic in March of 2020 like everybody else. And I worked from home for the trucking company. Okay, good, Tanya, good. Happy you back, baby. I did it for the trucking company, and she was asking me what I knew about work from home jobs. So I'm going to give you what I have recently experienced. So my friend Linda, she referred me to a work from home gig because the trucking company was trying to get us to come back in the office, and I didn't want to go back into the office. On top of that, to me, we were still too heavy into the massive part of COVID. And if you guys know, don't let you think COVID is over. It's not. COVID's going to be with us for a while unless they find a cure. The only difference is now I'm sitting on this chest, y'all. Only difference is that now we have the vaccines, and some people have had it and may have somewhat of an immunity, but people are still getting COVID. Don't get it twisted. And we're going to see in these winter months, because that's when it really spreads, how bad it's going to be. I think that's why they're pushing the flu vaccine as well as COVID. I am going to probably go get the Omicron one. I forgot to take my card today because I would have checked with the pharmacy today because I was at the store I usually get the vaccine from. And I just didn't call and check, but I'm going to see if they have it in stock. There's a doctor that I've been watching who has been teaching on the whole COVID thing since it started. What's the name? Oh my God, I forgot her name. Something Cottle. I don't know. Anyway, I've been watching her. She was on the news and she ended up in a feed of mine on Facebook. And then when I saw that she was somebody that they used as far as a bunch of news companies went to, I followed her and she seemed to, I liked the information she was providing. She seemed to be on top of it as much, and she followed in line with what CDC and Fauci and all that were saying. So it kind of helped, and then she gave feedback, and then she also took you through her experience when she went and got her shot. And she teaches for a pre-med program, plus she's a practicing physician. So she teaches new doctors coming out, and she took you to the school where they all ended up getting their shots and the clinics they ran. And so she just got the new one, and she did show that she had um, side effects. So her side effects were like flu-like symptoms. But she had, I think she had those, some of it with her other one too. But she said this one seemed a little bit worse with this particular shot. So I want to do that before I start the new job, because I don't want to be doing that vaccine and then the new job start, and then so I'll probably be getting it here sometime next week. I'm gonna call and see if we have it here, and then I'll go get it. I think it's called the bivalent, which is the one that's supposed to fight Omicron. Um, A and B. So anyway, Trucker Up was asking me what my thoughts were on the work from home and did I have any kind of information. I will give you my thoughts. You, I, there are still work from home jobs, but like I have one company right now that I'm going to actually end up letting them know I've taken a different offer because the money is better with the referral one that I have, and I'll let them know that Friday because I was supposed to start them on the 5th or 10th or something like that. And then the other one starts on the 17th of October. So I'm going to let them know thank you for the offer, but I've accepted another position. And much success to you. No ill will, but I want to definitely give them a warning that I'm not going to be able to start with them. It is a work from home job, but the way they're doing it, so let me back up. I went from the trucking company in office, kind of like, it was kind of like I call it jack of all trades. It's like bouncing balls. You did dispatch, you did logistics, you did safety, you did trip planning, you did training over the phone, you did everything. These folks was even calling to get directions on. I don't ever, except for one time trying to find a location, ever recall calling my dispatch for anything, because if they weren't giving me clear directions um on the Qualcomm, excuse me, on the Qualcomm, then I think one time there was something, it looked like I was going to be turning into a storage facility. I'm like, oh no. And I could not see any road that was supposed to connect. So I ended up calling for that because I had to find an alternate way because it just didn't look right. That was one. That's it. I didn't call for highways. I don't know. But they don't carry, these kids don't carry maps. It's obnoxious. They're GPS dependent. They don't do maps. They don't trip plan ahead of time. Like I would still look at my route. I would still look at the highway. I would even, you have great tools now, even more, but you should still have a map. You should still, anyway, I'm not doing that anymore. So let's not go there because it just totally discombobulated me. So anyway, so for that, and then when they wanted us to come back, I started looking for something else. Well, my associate of mine, she's like, you should come to my company. So I went to her company. There were things I saw in the beginning about the company, but part of the idea of the company I thought was genius. But as time went on, I started telling her stuff I was seeing, and she's like, oh no, that must be under your, and then it started bleeding to her. Well, before it was over with, we had layoff. She was laid off, and then I knew they were going to be coming, they were going to be gunning for the rest of us, especially if we made a certain amount of money. But it wasn't going to be layoff. It would be nitpicky stuff, which is what it was. Because at the end, he's like, well, if you want, you could resign. We don't have to let you go. But no, bro, you say you got something. Let's go with this, Playboy. I have no attendance issue. My performance has been stellar since I got here. I even helped out in your supervisory team lead Zooms, other representatives. So Playboy, you say you got something, roll with that. Just roll with it. And I was tired of the company. There was so much going on, and there was more that I knew. So I was like, I am done. I'm done. And I've been praying, Lord, show me if I'm supposed to stay here or go. And that very morning I said that was the end of the job. So I was downsized out, and then I went to the transportation fair here. So I had been putting in job applications. One company that I'd been putting in for, they had been hitting me back for almost 2 or 3 months off and on. And they reached back to me, but it was kind of shady, McLaughlin. It kind of bothered me. And this is like one of the offer that I'm gonna end up telling them, thank you, no, thank you. When I called, all of a sudden, oh, the position we called you about, that position is, we don't have that position now. Would you be interested in customer service? Well, that was the goal in the first place. And the number that they left on my voicemail was not a good number. So I called the number back they were calling from, and then that's when I talked to this customer service recruiter. And the money is funky too. So for 3 pay periods, I'm going to start you at $14 an hour, which is a huge pay cut for me. And then for 3 more pay periods, you'll be at $15 an hour. And then after that, you'll move to $16 an hour. Yeah, it's a huge pay cut. It is all work from home. On top of that, what they're doing though is they then tell me, oh, by the way, you also have to be on a webcam the whole time you're working. So you're in your house working and they're watching you on webcam. That's almost like driving in a truck and your personal, where you're inside that personal part. I didn't have a problem with like the bus system or trains or whoever having cameras inside with people, because I get that. And it's, you're watching everything. But in the truck and in your house, these are personal areas. While yes, you're using a part of it for business, there's personal stuff, getting up, going to the bathroom. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of personal stuff. So personal items around you. So I that was a little weird to me. It's almost like the whole camera in the truck thing. And it was something that I didn't care for inside of vehicles either, especially inside the vehicle because it's a personal space. Let me just see if any of y'all are saying anything. Um, so when Truckerette was asking me about this, here's what I found in my job search before that job ended when I was already looking. A lot of the companies that I found when I was looking for remote work, they were using this thing that they were calling hybrid. And I don't believe it's really for you to be permanent work from home. Some of them would tell you, oh, if you were within a certain distance of the company, then at that point they want you in there full time. They're going to watch you, and then they might offer you the capability to be work from home depending on your performance. Okay. The others were, oh, it's hybrid, meaning you have to come in part of the time and you work home part of the time. Um, Yep, Tanya, you're gonna have to catch up with the other video. I don't even want to go back to that. You got to go back to the prior video. It'll explain everything. Go back to the prior video. That ended. So go back to, when you have a chance, go watch the prior video. I gave everything in that prior video on everything. So the video episode EP3 will tell you everything. So yeah, that was a whole fiasco, and it wasn't what I was told it was going to be. So when you go back, it'll explain it all. Um, Work from home. Yeah, so that'll explain all of it, girl. Yeah, and I should probably I could do a Zoom, but I think what I explained in there will give you everything you need to know. If you watch it, because we talked about that all in the last video I did, and I did a very detailed on that. Um, so right now I'm actually going back into healthcare, just so you know, and my job starts October 17th. One of the girls that I met referred me, and I'm going to her company. She's been with over 20 years. And she referred me, and dang good referral, and you have to do an interview. I will be back in office. It is an in-office job, but it's also a federal government contracted job. The company's contracted to the federal government. So I'll be back on the healthcare end of it, which I'm good. And the money puts me close back to what I was making at my previous job. Yeah, so it's working. I have a Monday through Friday schedule. I'll be like 2 p.m. to 10:30, and then I have Saturday, Sunday off. So, and unlike kids today, I don't really care about that. I love 2 consecutive days off, so that works. I'm an afternoon, evening person. I'm not an early morning person. I actually hate early mornings. I've been working probably afternoon, evenings most of all my life. I'm not a morning person. Like when you first went to junior college and they told you, hey, you get to choose. I learned early on when they told you that they had evening school, afternoon school, and morning school. Shannon should be always the afternoon, evening school. I'm not the other one. Thank you, Flatbed. I appreciate you. Um, Yeah, so if you guys go back, if you don't know about that, go back and watch the other video. It'll tell you everything. It'll tell you stair step everything that happened. And that actually has given me time to work on the apartment because like I said, I'm supposed to be getting when, if you guys know Nikki, I mentioned Nikki. Um, yeah, I've been a night person all my life. I'm 54 years old and I've been working night shifts since I was, with the exception of high school and after high school. Once I went into like permanent long-term work, I I'm gonna come back. Okay, let me deal. I'm gonna deal with that bus thing and the homeless. I don't ever want to. I actually donate to a charity that deals with homeless, that deals with people who have addictions and deal with homeless people who have addictions and people getting out of jail. So I have a very strong, when I'm working right now, I've not been able to donate like I was, but I send a percentage to that, which I think is maybe why even the Lord has blessed me to be able to do this, going on almost 2 months of intermittent money. Okay. So God has blessed so that rent was covered for this month I'm in, and rent will be covered for next month, but things are tight. But I have been abundantly blessed. That some friends of mine felt, Jay, kind of like you did. But I want to say this because I think there, but for the grace of God go I. Not on the drug issue, because drugs have never been an issue for me. But honestly, I've lost jobs. Just like this whole thing ended. I've been laid off. I've been let go, or companies have folded, or I've transferred back and then looking for work. And I have been very blessed that I have not been on the street, been in a tent, and I've had places either to go or people to stay with, whether that was Grumpy or whether that was my friend Vivian here or whether I rented a room from somebody I knew who had a house. So I've been very blessed. So it's hard for me to say that. And I just actually helped a young lady who was at the bus company who had shared with me that she had been homeless. She had then moved into what's called the extended stays, and she was, just trying to get on her feet. We don't know the circumstances by which somebody ends up in those positions. However, we do know that some of the people in those positions do become mentally, either they become or may be mentally challenged. And we unfortunately in our country, and I did not know, like Arizona, we just call it the crazy house. We had a mental facility here. It was off of Van Buren and 24th Street. I didn't know this facility had been closed down. And my friend Joe said, "Oh, Shannon's been closed down for a long time." I'm like, "When did the hell did that happen?" He said, "Oh, that happened during the time of like Reagan or whatever." I'm like, "Oh my God." And I guess he said across the US. We don't deal with our mental. Hey, PJ, what's up, baby? We don't deal with our mentally ill well here in America. And unfortunately, those people end up sometimes not functional to hold jobs. And where do they go? And we're not dealing with those issues. We're not dealing with them even, and I'm going to say this too, we're Christian. So sometimes maybe it is something mental and sometimes it's spiritual. So we're not dealing with demonic stuff the way we're supposed to be dealing with stuff. Come on now. And so those things run people and people end up cray cray. We got, there's a whole bunch going on a spiritual level that we're not dealing with as Christians. That's just honesty. And we sometimes have to show love in a very dark place. My concern was more of a safety issue. I can't get on there laying on hands, casting out demons, and driving the bus. I can't do that. Okay. So now I also have to realize I'm looking at safety. Oh, well, are you a person of faith? Yes. But I'm also a person that God tells me about wisdom and foolishness. And so you have people, some of them who are just cray cray, some of them who are buttholes, some of them who are high on stuff. And for me, at least with the bus group I was in, I don't know how the outskirt ones do. Because like the one in Tempe I've ridden bus pretty much in Central Phoenix and in the East Valley. The East Valley is a different, well, it was. I haven't been on it in a while. East Valley is a different client base. It really was. It was just people going to work, poor folks who didn't have cars, or people who just decided the bus system was more economical. And you're going to see that increase. I think that's why they're looking for drivers, because with the cost of inflation, this recession that they won't tell us we're in, but we are in, and it's going to get worse. Um, with those things in play, people are getting ready to have to make decisions. Do I drive my car? Do I get a car? Or do I pay for groceries and a roof over my head? And most people are going to do groceries and a roof over their head, so the bus system may end up being a better fit. Here, I think you pay, I don't know what it is, $25, $30 for a month bus pass. And some companies, if you work for them, they actually have an arrangement with the city to actually get you your bus pass at a discount. So that's another option that some of these places have. Um, y'all forgive me. I don't know why I've been tired. So some of these companies, some of these people have an option. Um, that's, so for me, I have to have a little mercy, but I do get you, trust me, because a lot of my friends they were more concerned with the drug users and with people who are mentally ill coming on the bus and like attacking the bus drivers, or because they talked about in the classroom bus drivers that got beat up and stuff, and folks, and a lot of times that might not have been the mentally, that might have just been the butthole people who, I ain't got no money, I want to ride for free. And don't get me wrong, you could ride if we were threatened. We have a button to push, free ride, and we would report that to the dispatch. If the system was broken, we had a button, but people are supposed to pay a fare. Okay. um there were some concerns. I had concerns, so I don't want to ever, as a Christian person, I don't want to ever come off as if, but I was concerned, and I do use wisdom. And for me, I'm 54. I'm not in the best physical shape anymore. We're not talking a young woman who could get up there, put her dukes up. I had a person break into me at 13 years old, try to rape me, and I physically fought a man in my grandfather's house. That was age 13. So, but I am 54 years old. I'm 400 some pounds. The body ain't in the shape it was in. I'm on a blood thinner. If you cut me, I'm gonna bleed to death. I got a whole bunch of medical stuff, and so for me, that became a concern. Um, I remember that there was a bus driver in, I think, the East Valley, even though it usually, like I said, it's a different client base, that was shot and killed. If I remember back in 2016, I think it was 2016, by a patron. And then one guy told us when he was out in Mesa that some guy, threatened and pulled a knife on him or something, or a gun or knife on him. And he was a former bus driver for Mesa, and he was coming in to work here at the Phoenix location. So, good job. I can't say it's a bad job. I think if you want to be in your bed every night, but I do think they need to bump that money up for what those drivers are putting themselves out for. It needs to be like a 20 plus job, 20 plus dollar an hour job. They were offering a sign-on bonus with it. The Tempe one was offering a bigger sign-on bonus. Like I said, I probably would have been with the bus company longer because it was a job, but I don't know. I had a lot of concerns based on what I was watching. And then, like I said, the last ride I had with that trainer that I had, and he said, "How are you dealing with the mentally ill?" And then he proceeds to tell me a couple of different stories that took place on his bus. And by the time it was over, we had just got off the bus where we had a drunk guy get on who was like he's starting something with a couple different people. And we didn't know if the black guy was going to knock him out. Then he went back there bothering some lady. And my biggest problem that I have with that is that you cannot tell these people if they're drunk, intoxicated, high on something. No, you cannot get on the bus. Now, you do have some to do that. But then that could bite you back in the butt. I mean, it's so many catch-22s to it. And I was like, this shouldn't be. I'm like, no shoes, no shirt, no service. So you get on here acting a fool. You get on here. The driver should be able to make general decisions to say, no, homie biscuit, you're not getting on this bus. And that seemed to be an issue that could possibly be job-related issues. I wasn't trying to go down that vein. I just wasn't. It was just something I wasn't trying to go. Anyway, back to the work from home, because I went a little bit off of that one. So for Truckerette, with the work from home situation, what I found is a lot of the companies are looking at were saying hybrid, but they truly weren't. What these companies wanted to do was to get you in the office, and then they really wanted you working in the office. My personal view of the work from home, I think as long as you do decent production, you do decent quality work, leave me alone. Let me do my work. The last company I was at, they started nitpicking stuff. And the reason was is because they let a whole bunch of people go. And then on top of that, they were trying to get you to uh, do a lot more extra. And, oh, we want you to go faster, faster, but then you can't have any errors. Well, if you're going to go fast like that, you're going to have errors. So which one do you want? Do you want quality or do you want speed? You know, if you were doing decent production all along, and you're meeting, and now all of a sudden you're not meeting because they keep raising the metrics and the goals, then yeah, I cannot. What's up, Kathy? Well, I'm gonna wait for her to put her question up. So to Truckerette, what I'm gonna tell you is there may be work from homes, but what I'm finding is some of the ones they have aren't all the best quality. Um, if you're trying to do work from home, there are some out there, but again, it's not gonna be the best quality of the company. It's not gonna be the best caliber of company. And a lot of these companies that are doing this now, they know people got comfortable with work from home, but they really need to justify management positions. So to justify management positions, we want you to be in an office where somebody can look at you and watch you and then give you feedback, because that justifies a management job. If you really just did a good work from home, you should not need the number of supervisors and management that you have. You wouldn't need them. You could cut them in half, because you get people who do just work, do their due diligence, work from home, and meet the metrics, and don't mess with the metrics. Don't keep trying to press for more and more and more and squeeze more out the grape, because finally what you're going to get is you're going to get people that are like, screw it. You know, it's like they got this new thing called quietly quitting, where these kids are doing just barely enough to keep their job. They're like, I'm not going to be my parents, I'm not doing the extra. And so you've got companies that are these work from homes, and they're pressing the grapes for the extra, or they're doing it to where they're not paying you really decent money because they're like, oh, I can pay them cheap wages because they want to stay work from home. So it's like I said, there may be some out there. I think that the only time I knew that you're making good money in it, I had a couple guys I knew. One of them, he had his degree in, was it security or networking? And he was work from home, and he had been doing it work from home for years, even before COVID. He was making good money. I think Aaron was making probably in the 60 to $100,000 realm, but he had a degree in computer stuff that he could, you know, work from home, not go into an office. And his job, he was working, they'd even fly him overseas. So if you can get into something like that, that's going to be your best bet. But if it's standard like customer service stuff, not worth your time. The only other way is probably if you go into healthcare, where you're doing like respite work or hospice work, where you're going in helping to take care of another human being. Those would probably be solid jobs, but I do not know what they pay. I almost came a respite worker because somebody requested me. She did special needs kids and she knew me, and her kids knew me, and she was looking and she's like, Shannon, would you ever think about becoming a respite worker and be ours? And I thought about it, but I don't think I went too far because there was just a lot going on with her household. And we would have definitely clashed on, she was not Latino, she was Italian. And I'm black, and we believe in raising kids a certain way. I don't care if they handicapped, disabled. You're not gonna talk back. You're not gonna talk crazy. I'm gonna spank that tail, and we're gonna have a come to Jesus meeting. So she was doing, yeah, the little Down syndrome girl would call her a B. I'm like, I cannot. Hold on for a second. Let me go back. Okay, Kathy, you said, hey, oh, Kathy, you said hello. I'm sorry. Kathy, I thought you were going to ask a question. Hey, Kathy. Hold on. Let me read this. I've noticed many jobs are playing this game in employees where they hire you without any benefits and low pay, then say in a certain amount of months they would hire you, then don't. Um, Hold on, what is that? So they're so they get their work done cheaply for a year or two. Okay. You know what? And I'm not shocked at that. That's kind of what I feel with this one that wants to watch you from work from home. Now they'll give you benefits. I think your benefits start. I don't know if the benefits start day one or not. I can't remember if their benefits start day one. I can't remember about their benefits. I cannot remember. Um, my thing was the whole watching you on the webcam for 24. Because if they want you to work a 12-hour shift, and you want to watch me on the webcam. I'm like, what about when I go to the bathroom? It's just weird to me. So, and the way mine works, my desk is right here and my bathroom is down the hallway. So as soon as I walk from the desk, you watch me walk all the way to the toilet. Yeah, I don't know, it's so weird. And it's just weird. The other company, I do have to go in. It's a possibility that they have let some of their people go home. And like I said, the thing about her, the lady I know, she's been with that company over 20 years. So it's a company that's been around, and it's healthcare. It's health insurance. So Medicare, Medicaid, Affordable Care Act. I worked in Affordable Care. It's in healthcare is, like I said, no matter what economy does, healthcare is something that's going to be around a minute. Yeah, I can't answer that question. Are there a bunch of shady companies? Yeah. Yeah, if it's not a majorly known company, then I got question marks. The one that she's referring me to, I had to research it because I had not heard of them, but she's been there 20 years. And so then when I researched it, it's a federal, they've gone under different names, but it's an insurance-based company that deals with Medicare, Medicaid, and the marketplace, which would be the Affordable Care Act. So when I was working for Aetna, that was the division I was under, was the Affordable Care Act side. And with the tie to Medicare, Medicaid, they'll be fine. They'll be around. I'm not worried about that. And you can be cross-trained in those areas. They said after 6 months, if you want to move, they have movement. So a lot of growth opportunities. Like I said, she said a couple months ago, they told her they need over 1,000 people. This is not work from home. This is in office. They need over 1,000 people. When I applied, it was like they were looking for over 100 people. Um, so that was a plus for me. And like I said, I start on the 17th. So actually that has given me time to do some things here. It's also given me time for healing of this leg because that fall on the bus, this leg is jacked. It's the bruising is starting to heal on the front. I still have the bruising on the back. I'm still having a few issues, and when I get a chance and my insurance kicks back in, I'm going to go to my doctor and have her do a good check. So have her hopefully do some x-rays and make sure everything is okay. Like I said, the bus company, that was another thing. They didn't offer anything with workman's comp, which that should have been offered immediately. I should have been sent somewhere to have the leg looked at. That should have been handled. But again, those were some of the things with that company that did raise red flags for me. And even in the meeting where they were in the training where they were saying, oh, well, so-and-so bus driver, they tried to get workman's comp, but they're the ones that are at fault for getting beat up. So they ain't getting no workman's. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. A lot of red flags. I'm quiet, but I'm listening. And that's part of the analytical side of who I am. That to me is very weird. I'm like, whoa, homie, where are you look where you coming up with this at? So yeah. But yeah, so to truckerette, because I don't want to deal with this subject for that long. Um, Good luck if you're looking for work from home. Is it out there? Yes. It depends on what you got as far as your background training on what's going to be available to you. Otherwise, I would say you're going to have to upskill if you want to get something that's going to make some money, and you're probably going to have to go into something computer based. Um, in order to try to make money. And if you do, I'm going to tell you save money. Because my other concern is it depends on what company you get with on the computer side, because uh, those are some of the positions that get cut to me fast as well. Okay. Yeah. See, there it goes again. So y'all, okay. So that's the one. The second one, the comment I wanted to deal with, and she's new. I've never seen her in her live. Her name was Stephania, and it was on the last video. that I did, the one prior to this one, the one that talks about everything with the train. So she wrote, and I talked about the prior administration, not the current one, the presidential administration, if y'all know what I'm talking about. So she wrote some things, and I'm not going to verbalize because obviously, if YouTube blocked the comment, I did not block the comment. But if YouTube blocked the comment from being publicly viewable on the channel, I will still see if people make comments, even if they're jacked up racial, sexual, all sorts of comments. We'll talk about that too, Flatbed. We'll talk about it in a minute. Because I'll talk about that at the end, because I'm gonna talk about that too. I don't block comments. So just to let you know, unless it's sexual. And normally what I do is I will send information, because we have a way, if you have the channel, to actually highlight that comment and say that it's been sexually inappropriate or something like that. And then YouTube does a removal of that from the channel. So they'll remove it, but they also can remove before it ever is something you see. And right now there's a lot of filtering and what they call strikes. So I'm going to be careful how I deal with this particular topic, but I'm going to deal with it. So first of all, I'm going to tell her name, Stephania. I searched, the last name was a B and I forgot. But and I'm saying Stephania because it was spelled a little bit different from Stephanie. But I did read your comment. Thank you for commenting. Anybody, please comment to help the channel. So if you have comments, please do that. Also, I see we got like 10 folks on here. Please like, thumbs up, subscribe, and share it out. And hello to anybody I ain't say hello to yet. I'll go back and look at comments. And Flatbed, I'm reading your comments. So we're going to talk about some of that at the end with the metals, stocking, and all that. Because I always will say that at the end, because I feel that as we move until the church is raptured out of here, as we move into next year, things are going to get worse, especially with the interest hikes. They're trying to say the coming recession. I'm going to tell you, we are in a recession. I do not believe there's no coming recession. I believe we are in one. So let me go back, and I'm going to tell you that from going to the grocery store. I went and took a shower before I did this. So about about 2 hours ago. So here's what I'm going to say. She talked about the previous administration, and in the same vein, I have an aunt who's an educator, a former educator, retired, who hates the former administration. My best friend can't stand him, hates him. Thank you, Kathy. Yes, we are in a recession, definitely, and then some. She hates the former administration. I mean, my best friend, like, he can die. She just jump out a plane. You mention him, she go left. She go all the way left and jump out the plane with no parachute. And I'd be like, Jane, don't jump out the plane. My best friend. And she can't stand them. And she also talks about how bad things are right now. We'll talk about that too. So here's what I'm going to say to everyone. From the Christian perspective, our Bible tells us God places kings. So everything from Queen Elizabeth dying, her son being placed in order, not a fan of the son. I like Queen Elizabeth, at least from what I could tell of who she was. To the current administration, not a fan of them either. To the previous administration and administrations before that. Every country, all of these people have been given their positions for reasons. And from a Christian perspective, I want you to just understand, we see things as you're dealing with two opposing forces, God of the Bible and Satan, a fallen angel. And his goal is to piss God off because he didn't get his way. And God's goal is to save as many of us as he can and also put old boy in his place. So what's happening is a bunch of chess moves on this planet. And those chess moves even go to leadership, which is why God says, I place kings. So there's things that he has them do in order to maneuver things to certain results. That's the best way I can put it. So while we may not have cared for a lot of who that individual was, God did some things through him that needed to be done, good and bad. But it all needed to happen to bring things to a certain point. Okay. With that being said, we also have to understand there are spirits. The Bible tells us there's spirits behind people. So there are spirits behind how people respond. And oftentimes those spirits will leech onto people, oftentimes in your youth, because the Bible tells us we're born into sin. So they come through your generational line, and then there's things that happen to you within the time you're born into this planet where spirits may leech onto you. If a child is molested, there's something there's a transmittal of spirits with sexual sins. And so whatever, you could have a soul tie to somebody you weren't even wanting to be with, okay? And so those spirits work behind the scenes. With that being said, I feel sorry for the previous dude, because I know he's not wrapped right. I know he's crazy. I also know that there are spirits behind him that aren't good. But I'm not saying the current one don't have spirits behind him either, nor any of the former. Because again, this is a chess game. And God knows what he's doing. He knows what demonic forces he's up against. He knows how they gonna roll, because he knows the end from the beginning. And he's playing these pieces. People may look at that and say, that's a weird way to look, because if he knows that, then why would he let us go through all of this? I just said this to my friend Linda. We don't live this life to have, I used to tell this to people when I minister to them. We don't live this life to prove to God anything. We live this life that when we stand before him in judgment, we don't have an argument. So what I mean is, he's basically given us an opportunity. He could judge the spirit he creates immediately, knowing what our free will choices are going to be. Instead, he put us in a physical world where we will live out through the choices we make. And in the interim, he's placing things in the pathway to hopefully make us have an opportunity to make other choices, knowing that in some cases we won't make those other choices because he knows the end from the beginning. But he gives you the opportunity to. So then when your time is up on this planet and you stand before him in judgment, you don't have an argument. You physically lived out that, and he can play back, hey, I had Sally Sue come at this juncture in your life and talk to you about this, or had this situation happen. Here was a turning point. Here, you didn't turn. You chose not to know me. You chose to ignore me. You chose all this stuff. So that the saying, depart from me, I never knew you. Other people you may accept, and he knows that, and you'll get that relationship, and you make those choices. That past guy, he's broken. Do I know if he'll ever be anything different? I don't. Based on what we now know, which I presumed about a jacked up childhood from his cousin or niece's book about his daddy and how her father died, some of the inner breakings in that family and generational curses, that guy's jacked. He's jacked up because of how he was reared. Okay? And if anything, I know we may not like aspects of who he is, but we do need to have some sympathy for him. No different than these people that are on them bus stops that I told a lot of you guys, hey, this is dangerous. I have sympathy for them. It don't mean I agree with maybe even the choices they made to get to where they were at. Maybe some of the choices I've made haven't been the best choices, and God made a way. Maybe the choices they made were more severe. There but for the grace of God go I. A friend of mine, and the mother of the old church, used to say, I thought I had it bad because I had no shoes till I met the man with no feet. We don't know how people handle their experiences. And in the case of the previous administration, he mentally did not deal with his stuff well. He did not deal with how his father treated him well. So there's a mental break there. And that mental break made him a narcissist, made him cheat, connive, and I might have learned that from his father. My biological father, if you guys didn't know, he's dead now, but Monty brought over big quantities of drugs back in the day from Mexico. He had some connection. He'd bring them over, and I don't know how he distributed it. But my brother who's sitting in prison, that's one of the main reasons he's been in prison off and on all his life. He saw, because he's the only one that I think Monty was supposedly, and I say supposedly because I don't know what's true or false, was married to his mother. So he saw aspects of him in drug life, in smoking and using. I didn't grew up in that, but he saw that. So it affected him, and I believe that's part of the reason why that became his normal. People, we have to be careful when we look at folks. And I know we're looking at them from what may be the pain they cause us. Racial comments. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say the dude is right. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. And I believe that once he got up in there, like I said, everything has a purpose. He unleashed crazy. I believe that's what I'm seeing out here in the streets. The way people think. The fact that people feel now, it used to be you knew to hold your tongue. You used to hold your peace. Now these people, they don't have a problem calling you a ninja, follow folk like they killed that one boy and followed him running in the neighborhood. And, this kid is really minding his own business. Why are y'all following this baby? We have to be very careful. That's the best thing I can tell you. And I don't think people are careful anymore. I think people have this mindset and this thought process to just be buttholes. And they don't have anything holding them back. And I do believe that came from the prior administration. I mean, it translated to other countries where people were acting just like dude. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute. This crazy thing is not just him. There's folks just like you. The Capitol thing, that should have told you a whole bunch. When you saw pink people hanging off the building, that should have told you all you needed to know. I would have never thought I would have seen that in my lifetime. When black folks was looking at going, look, black, white, pink, everybody else was looking at the pink people going, the Sam hell? Everybody was sitting up there going, what in the hell? People were hurt, devastated, emotional. Because I'm sitting up here going, what in the hell is going on? Hanging off the Capitol building, fighting their own people, doing all sorts of weirdness. And this dude sat in the office quiet. Because that was some of his crazy. And they were just as crazy as he is. The thing is that I learned in a college course years ago, was I'm trying to remember if it was my black history teacher or a sociology history teacher. I can't remember. But they said Americans, but I think people in general, we have short memory when it comes to history. And and it's not really taught anymore is the other major issue. So we have a short memory when it comes down to looking at the history of situations. And we needed to look to, especially when that individual was in office, very much like an Adolf Hitler. Tell a lie over and over enough times, people begin to believe it. Or people will just jump on board with it. They may even know it's a lie and don't care it's a lie. It's a lie. It's okay. I just want to deal with you. I want to be close to you. And some people may join that lie because they just want to be next to power or they want to have power. They don't care. It's just like right now what's going on. The world, how can you not see with your own two eyes that our planet is crying out and saying things are wrong? But yet you choose to keep on doing all the stuff you do for pollution and everything else. You don't want to change because it's all about a mighty dollar. But you're not leaving your family nothing. You're not leaving yourself nothing. Oh, well, money, because to them, money will solve all their problems. I'm going to tell you coming in the next year, money ain't going to solve everybody's problems. You might have a little bit of cushion for a minute, but money ain't going to solve everybody's problems. It's not. It's things are going to get really tight. You had wealthy people. What did they do in the Depression? Jumping out windows. Folks with a lot of money because they could not. The money was their God, and they thought that God was going to save them. You better have a whole different game plan. And as I'm going to tell people, I know some people think I'm weird. I do believe in a rapture because I'm Christian. Look, keep your hand in his hand. I don't know when. I just know things are so strange and bizarre right now. I won't be shocked. I just, whatever I sense is gonna come soon. And if it don't, I'm gonna be shocked if it's more than 5 years. I'll be shocked. Right now, I just think that everybody you need to have, and like I said, if you get left here and all of a sudden y'all see a whole bunch of folks in this, you get left here, don't take that number. That's all I can tell you. Now, for those of you right now who, all of us, and I'm happy because during all of this madness that has happened, today I went to the store and it was pricey, but not like what it would be if I didn't have nothing or I was living week to week. I went in the store for all fresh stuff. I didn't really go in there except for, yeah, everything, even bread. I went in there for anything that was fresh. I did not go in there for any other reason. Milk, I went for some milk. I went for some coffee creamer because I do like it. I have some powder creamer, but I went for the liquid when they had it on sale. Avocados, they had those. I went and got those. Lettuce, tomatoes. I went for anything fresh. That's what I was there for. I was there for only fresh items. Okay. I'm going to say to you and do what you want with this statement. You need to have a good canned supply and a good bean and rice supply. Right now, I ate on beans for almost 3 weeks. Or not 3 weeks, 3 or 4 days. And I still got beans in the refrigerator. That needs to be a staple to stretch food. The cost of food it's craziness. I went in and it was, hey, what's up, Chicago BBW? I went into the grocery store and it was $1.99 for a head of romaine lettuce. It used to be $1. So that's a 100% increase. What's that? 100% increase or whatever. It's double. Milk, orange juice, craziness. What I'm seeing, $4. Bread, $5 and $6. I mean, unless you get the really cheapy, and even that used to be 99 cents was $1.79. And that was on sale for $1.79. So I don't know if it's $2 for bread now for the cheap bread. Luckily they had some milk, and it's not because I'm lactose intolerant. So I went for, I usually go for oat milk or rice milk or coconut milk. And even that I could hold because I have shelf stable milk back in my room. And so I could actually pull one of those out if I need to, but I actually like the cold milk. And if I got a little change, I'm gonna get it. Otherwise, I go back there and bust that open. Coffee, I don't need no coffee. Cereal, I pretty much got cereal unless it's stale, but I got cereal, I got rice. I got cans of everything. Canned beans, canned string beans, canned corn, canned tomatoes, canned tomato sauce. I got pasta. I may eventually up my pasta, but right now I'm okay on pasta. I'm okay. I went in my refrigerator and I had, like I said, while I was working, I was doing a little bit of eating out all the time, either sandwiches or having stuff delivered when I was working from home. And I went in the refrigerator and I still had stuff, and I had to throw some stuff out. I still need to go in there and do a good clean and see what's in there. That's going to be my next one to get into this pile of stuff here. It's just going there, and every time I go in there, if I work on the shelf, I just, let me see what's in here that I don't need. And I start digging through sections. So I got, 3 different sections, and I just went to the vegetable bins the other day and cleaned those out. And then I'm going to do a good wash down. I need to do a good wash down of the refrigerator. But guys, do that. And as she was mentioning, who was it? Was it Kathy? Hold on, let me see. Who was it? Was it Kathy or Flatbed? So as Flatbed was talking about with getting like your monies. One thing while I did everything on the urban prep side for food, which is a blessing, because I didn't need meat. I didn't have to get any meat today. Everything I got was literally, I got dairy, bread, vegetables. I'm trying to think of, and I was running low on paper towel. I normally get my paper towel from Costco. And as soon as I start working again, I'm going to get what they call washable, recyclable paper towels. Get those from Amazon. Once I get them, I'll show them to you and I'll put a link below. But I'm going to switch to those because you wrap them around. They're just cloth. And you wrap them around. You use them just like you would a paper towel. You can clean up with them, wipe up. I heat stuff up on paper towel. You wipe your face with them, use them as a napkin, and then put them in the laundry. And then you wash them and then wrap them back around. I'm going to get those. And I'm probably going to get about 2, I think you get 25 of them. And then I'm probably gonna get two things of them. And then they even come with, I guess, a hard little wrapper paper towel thing. You put them on your paper towel holder. So that's what I'm getting. And a friend of mine had said that, and I'd seen it a while back. And me and Joe were just talking about it today. And Joe said, "Wait a minute." And he says, "What did you just say?" I said, "Yeah, washable paper towels." She didn't say banned. She just said a lot of the same negative things about him, that she didn't like him, how bad of an administration he was. Um, Obviously, some of the racial views that a lot of African Americans have about him. I don't know if she's. I'm presuming she. No, she was. I could tell from the picture. Um, just all the negative stuff. Like my aunt hates him too. I mean, just my aunt still is very caught up into him, and I think that's my other issue is that people are still giving him a little bit too much attention. Which he's a narcissist. So a narcissist, that's what they want. They want attention, even if it's bad attention. It's like Grumpy. Grumpy told me I practice. He practiced being an a-hole. That's what that dude does. And the reason a narcissist does that is it makes them the center of attention. And they don't care what kind of attention, just as long as it's attention. And if it's negative attention, oh well, at least they're the center of attention. That's a narcissist. And the list goes on all the psychological issues. Grumpy reminded me a lot of him. They were very similar in character. The only issue is Grumpy was not reared by his parents, he was coddled by them. Whereas this individual was semi coddled, but also was, it sounds like the dad was also a dick. And so he basically grew up under this butthole personality that he also became. So that damaged him. Um, Right. That's Kathy. That's it. 100%. So you have people that, if they're narcissistic, they want attention at all costs. And when Grumpy said that to me, because it used to always trip me out when people just wanted to be dicks or be a-holes. I'm like, well, why do you want to be like that? Because that's not my nature. And then when he said I practiced it, and when I stepped back and understood, and it was the key to the kingdom for me, because then I understood it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad attention as long as they get attention, because they just want to be the center of attention. And really, it's people who have no value. So I'm gonna let me say this, because I have an associate, and she has some butthole tendencies, and I would notice it come out like, whoa, when it would come out. And what I realized is these are people that, if it wasn't for the negative, they would be invisible to everyone else. They're not anybody of any substance. Grumpy wasn't anybody of substance. He really didn't matter. So he and I'm gonna say proud up on overweight women. He liked fat women because his thought process, which is true, not of all fat women, because this is not me, but some fat women or fat people have low self-esteem. So fat, and as I said before in one of my other videos, fat is the issue. Self-esteem is not. Um, but Grumpy, he proud, or he looked for overweight women, because I think that was an easier target for him. And he knew that he could manipulate them. And if that woman or female had low self-esteem, low values, low self-worth, it was a winner. And so he knew what he could get out of them. And, sexually, monetarily, he used to be able to tell you every ring on his finger and what woman gave it to him or bought it for him. Those were things that he did, and it's almost like a badge of honor. And if I can't, a real good looking female, like what you would say fine, no, he wasn't gonna used to get that. He got average sisters, or they ain't all that. They okay, if that. So those were the kind of women he would get. I mean, some people I have siblings that may not feel that's good. I'm gonna be honest. My mom was not, to me, a good looking female. And she was a fat woman. And I know she had low self-esteem issues. Just based on things that I went through as a child. And forgive her for that. God bless her. But it's the same thing. And even if people want to look back, I know some people know my mom's the most beautiful person in the world. Okay. Look, okay. Look, if I can compare her to XYZ person, no, your mom was average, or she wasn't all that. So, sorry. So, but the women that he prowled upon, and the same thing with this dude. The only reason that he gets women that probably look depending on, because I don't think his present wife is pretty at all. But the only reason he gets the women he does get is because of the, I think, the lie of the money. That's the only reason why. The lie of the money. So, and that women become attracted to that. You know, they're attracted to a car. I I got males that have tried to tell me, I don't really care. I'm not interested in you. And you know, they come try, oh, this I got a Mercedes. Okay. I don't care about those things. That's, if I was to settle down with what the person has is not substance to me. Who a person is. And it has to be some very significant things. And meet very few people who even are on a level that where they just are just downright. I've seen it in other people. Like I've seen people who have genuine spouses. You have to be very genuine for me. I can't. The other stuff doesn't matter. I ain't saying I want no broke. I don't want anybody right now anywhere. But where I'm at in my life, I'm good. Me and Jesus were great. But if I was in that ball game, I'm not saying I want somebody broke, and I'm not saying you got to have a job. You got to work. You don't have to be rich, but you got to be able to you got to be able to contribute. These females that are with these dudes that ain't contributing, I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding. The ones that you give your car to somebody and then you happen to get a, I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding. I cannot. I cannot. Especially for the male female version, because a man should always have a job. I cannot. I cannot. I cannot. Um, it's very rare instances where I think it should be the opposite way. I mean, it just really depends in the situations, but it's very rare instances where I think a dude shouldn't have no job. I mean, I get that you get sometimes like a wife or mom takes care of the kids, and sometimes it's switched around. Maybe the father is a good caretaker. That's very rare instances. I'm not one of them people that believe in that. Not really. But I want to say that I do believe you do need to stock up food wise, but money is another issue. And what you do monetarily is very important with your money. So, where Flatbed was talking about things, she's also saying things that are not your traditional money. So that if things hit a hard place like they did during the Depression, you have stuff that you can barter with. Monty's dad told him there we had there was work, but there was no money. Um, and that plays a big part. And he even said, I think he said there was food and there was no money. But I'm gonna tell you, in this go round, and he told Monty it was gonna be worse than this go round, and because he told him there's gonna be another one, because man doesn't learn, don't learn. Um, but in this next one, what I'm gonna tell you is food is going to be an issue, money is going to be an issue, and that the reason those two I know are going to be an issue because it's biblical. Because what's going to happen is the person that's supposed to come on the scene is supposed to come in with all the solutions to your problem. I tell you what, all of us will go on to a one world monetary system because we're a global community now. And in order to buy, sell, work, eat, and live, you just have to simply take this mark. And when you go to the grocery store, Amazon's already doing it. I think it's Amazon Whole Foods. You walk in now, and now I forgot what it is, and you don't even have to go through the checkout. You walk right the hell out. They got stores now where there is no person. You get your stuff, and when you walk out to get in, you gotta have whatever this code is, and to leave out, you gotta have it. It's either in your phone or your wallet. I can't remember how to have it. I've seen it on here a couple different times. And these stores are in existence now in multiple countries. And there are several. I think New York was one I saw it in on YouTube. You can research it. You can watch it. Matter of fact, there was a black couple, I think, that owned one that I watched, and I sat here like this. Well, dang, it's already here. You walk in. Matter of fact, I saw it coming because we went to one of this, we call it Kroger, but it's Fry's here in Arizona. They're part of the Kroger family. And over here in more of a money area, because that's where all the money places are at, all your investment areas are, just up the street here from where I live. And I went to the Fry's over there, and they had where you just do your barcode and walk the hell out. And you don't have to talk to a register, you can't do nothing. You walk out, it takes it off your card. Done. And it's going to get to where it's not even going to be a card. It's going to be something implanted in you. So, back in the day, in the old days, they thought it was going to be a barcode. And now they think it's going to be more of a chip. I think it's going to be a chip. And I think the chip can be put in your hand or on your forehead, like like they do in dogs. It'll have every identifying aspects of who you are. Your picture, your passport, your driver's license, any and everything you need is going to be right there. And it can be scanned. It's going to be done for a lot of reasons, probably due to a lot of insurrection and terrorist things, so it can identify humans. It's going to dog tag you, so if you do anything really cray-cray, they can find you. So, but what I will tell you is whatever time we do have, and while you are working, flatbed is absolutely correct. One of the things that I will be doing in this next go-round is I've been focusing on my preps in the house. I'm going to focus on my loot in my wallet. And I'm going to have not only cash on hand, because not only do you want to have, but I believe that cash may end up being not worth as much, which is where she's getting into. So gold and silver are always tradable. I don't care what you do. You go to a pawn shop and get cash off gold and silver. So I'm going to be going down that route. And this is weird because before I went back over the road in 2016, I had this vibe and I just didn't follow it. I had a vibe and didn't follow it. Flatbed, I believe in it. If I could live off the grid, I would. Actually, what I would love to do, honestly, y'all, right now, I would love to have an RV because I'd probably travel part of the time and then come back and relax. Because I do, from trucking, what I did learn was that being in a small space is okay for a minute, but I don't know that I want to be in there always. So, like, if I could get one of them Class C or whatever RVs with a good shower, and I would live in that and then have a home spot, I'd be cool on that. Let me see what else we got going on. Okay, I did Kathy. Let me see if I hit everybody else's comments. Okay, we dealt with that. PJ, what's up? I hope I said hello to PJ. Tanya, Kathy, I got you. Jay. Although, Jay, thank you and love you because, and I know a lot of my friends were concerned just like you, Jay, with some of the stuff that was going on with the bus stuff. And not saying the bus job I could do. I can drive the heck. As a matter of fact, one of the trainers told me, we hate to lose you. You can drive. And I liked you. I can drive. I just saw a lot. And I thought the train was going to be a winner. That was honest. It bit me in the butt. But in a say, did it? I don't know that it necessarily did. Because when I came home, I reached out. And the next thing I know, like I said, I had one job offer on Monday and another job offer on Thursday. So that Friday that everything ended, I reached out, and the next thing I know, I did have 2 job offers. So, and actually had a third one for an interview with a trucking company here, not to drive trucks, but to work in office. It would have been like customer service. I think it was going to be very similar to what I did for the other trucking company, smaller company. Yeah, definitely smaller, but known. And I had to tell them, hey, I'd already accepted an offer because my concern. And oh, that's another thing. Let me bring this up. So y'all saw all this stuff with that strike with the railroad. Let me help y'all. That news built that up. Grumpy used to tell me something. You will never see the railroad on strike. Okay? Because the federal government will always step in. And if you guys go back through history, go look. Federal government always steps in. There are industries that cannot stop running. Transportation is one in all forms. Trucking, trains, planes. That's why federal government came in and helped those industries out. I'm just saying. They can't stop running. If they stop running, the country starts running. Stephanie, you're the one. Yes. Thank you and welcome to the channel, baby. Hold on. I couldn't remember. And I apologize if I'm saying your name. Is it Stephania? Oh, good evening, doll. I came in late and had to rewind to hear your response. Comments, thank you so much for addressing it. I understand your point of view and where you come from. All right. Yeah, and Stephanie, I'm not, and I want to say this, and guys, you guys couldn't read her comments. Like I said, I did not block your comments. It had to be blocked by YouTube. I can see them, though. So if you go back to the video, I think you can see that they're not listed. But I can see them in a editing app that YouTube gives me to edit videos and to monitor my videos. So I guess once you hit a certain number, YouTube gives us extra too. YouTube gives people who hit a certain number in their videos extra stuff. And the more people you get that join your channel, the more stuff you get to help promote your channel, so to speak. So it's an editing software. So when I went in there, I sometimes go, and I'm gonna do that from here on out, because I'm going back, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, people, some comments that I did not know that were on other videos, I didn't know. And I was like, oh, I didn't know they did that. So when I was like, wait a minute, it didn't come up, because I normally was doing it from the YouTube channel. But if I use the editing software that they have, or in monitoring software, then I can see comments that have been removed. Some are pornographic, so I'm not a problem with that being removed. But others tell me it's because of the content of the comment that YouTube didn't post it. So, and I'm not saying I don't agree, in the sense of, like I said, I'm not a fan. A lot of people, my good friend Joke hated him. He's in love with, he didn't like him either. And he would say a lot of stuff, and I would just go, and even when I told Grumpy when he was live, I felt sorry for the previous administration. I felt sorry for him because he's a damaged child. That man is a damaged, and grown male, should I say, is a damaged child. My father was a damaged child. You can be damaged by being spoiled. He was a spoiled, insolent child. This one is spoiled and had other issues that were put upon him, it sounds like, by his father. I have not read the niece's book. I've just listened to her interviews. I probably need to read her book to understand a lot more. There was a documentary too I just recently watched that they did on him, and it answered a lot more questions on the mental side of who he is, and that guy has a lot of issues. So here is my belief system right now, and it's Stephanie, you bring up a good thing. I'm gonna probably be on here, this is gonna be an hour and a half, so I'll bring this up. I am concerned that he's going to get back in. That's my number one thing. I do not think legally they're going to put him in any kind of jail or prison, even though they're trying to throw a lot of stuff at him. I don't think that's going to happen. The present administration we have, I hate to say it, in my opinion, they suck too. And they don't, neither one of neither the president or vice, to me, should run. We need somebody else. The problem is, I don't know that we really have anybody else to run. And you have right now, we've got a lot of issues. So y'all, and for those of y'all who are Anglo or pink, y'all folks, y'all might be mad at me, but I'm gonna go here. Y'all, because y'all privileged, and y'all folks, y'all felt privileged and better than everybody else, and you don't want to be second-class citizens, as you have had most of other people of other cultures be. Y'all jumping on the bandwagon with old boy. So you got a lot of them jumping on the bandwagon with him, even if they know he cray, okay? That's one issue, because you don't want to be second class, and then you also are pissed off because of all the immigration stuff going on. I'm going to agree with you that I have issues with how the immigration is being handled. I do have issues with these governors sending folks to other states, but I also have an issue that those governors should have to even deal with that right now. Personally, and this may make some people of certain cultures upset, I think the border should be cut off to everybody. Okay? I don't give a dang what your nationality is. Anglo, whatever. Even God bless the Ukrainians. I'm sorry for what y'all going through. But America, we got a lot of stuff going on. Worldwide, everybody got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff going on right now. We're in a recession. People are struggling. It's a whole bunch going on that they're not really talking about for just those of us who exist here in general, okay? Companies is doing all sorts of madness, even though they're not really dealing with that. There's a lot of issues that we're not talking about. Instead, we want to focus on Cray Cray Boy. And the reason they're trying to come at him is because they're trying to stop him from running again. You can't stop him. And the only way you can stop him is to probably lock him up And right now, for whatever reason, this guy's such a good grifter. He knows how to work the system to where you can't lock him up because he works the system. And I really believe that they know that if they lock him up, we will end up having a civil war in this country because we have a group of Anglo folk and some of us too, who's all caught up into whatever it is with this dude and not realizing, boy, is cray cray. Okay? Or they okay with the cray cray because it meets whatever their agendas are. That's another thing. So you have those who, and I had to tell this to a friend of mine. Well, what about the Christian? Don't put all Christians the same way you don't put all black folks in the same category, Latino folks in the same category. You don't put all people in the same box. That's why I can't say some. That's why I say some of the Anglo folk, a large majority of you. Sorry. So the Anglo folk, so the pink folk, y'all can put them back in office. Hold on. You do have that right now, but and the problem is that and that's more of, I don't even know how you can do education on that, because the issue is that the people you're putting in office, really a lot of them don't give a doggone about you. They're in there for the money and the position, the power, and the title. It's the same way in corporations. That's why it killed me when they voted him in, and a lot of them was like, well, he's not a politician. He's in the business? Honey, he's absolutely a politician. Matter of fact, he's probably worse than some of the dang government politicians, because business people do a lot of politicking and it's dirty. If you work in business, some business folks do some dirty stuff. I ain't gonna say all, but some of the politics that they do in business, and depends on the business, can be dirty. If you don't believe me, go back and look at Enron. Go look at the Wells Fargo issue with the whole sales, thing they were doing and signing up. You go look at different corporations and see. We can go back to the banking fiasco that caused the whole housing market debacle. Businesses do. If you're in business, businesses can be political and dirty, because politics is about kissing up in power and positions and title and money. Some churches the same way. Some churches, it's political. It's not about God. That's why I had to tell my friend, be careful. Don't sit and put all Christians in the same box, because not all of us are in the same vein. Some of us sincerely have that goal to be what Jesus made us to be, salt and light to the earth, and to draw people. Then you have others who become legalistic Pharisees and Sadducees. He don't know what that was. We have to be very careful when we're putting people in boxes. That's why I can't say, like I said, I got Anglo folk in my family. Not only on my mother's side, on my father's side. I got Latino folk in my family. On my father's side, on my mother's side. I don't know if any nationality we haven't. We got Asian folk. I don't know any nationality that we have missed. What I do tell you is I don't know, and ultimately what I'm going to say from a Christian standpoint, not getting into the political side of this, God places people in the positions he does for the reasons he does, and he knows what he's doing. And this is an end time wrap up of time. It's too much is converging at one time. We've got way too much converging at the same time. We've got, well, when I grew up, called it global warming. We've got the planet saying, I'm done. Bible talks about the planet with moaning groan for the return of God. And I believe that's what all this is, with the natural disasters and everything that's happening. And again, guys, look outside of America. You need to look at other countries. And I'm not just talking about what they're showing you on the news. Get on the internet's here. Go look at other countries. I look at these guys called the Two Preachers. They do a culmination of things from around the world. Go look at that. It will blow your mind. And they do it saying, Bible, things are moving, things are happening. Go look at all the natural stuff that's happening. Weird natural stuff, okay? Weird cosmic stuff. Financial things that are going on. This is only hitting America. They're talking about right now, well, Europe's in trouble. Europe ain't the only one in trouble. World is in trouble right now, y'all, financially. Japan, y'all better stock some food. Germany, y'all might want to stock some food in case of a, what they tell them? In case of a civil unrest. What's the rest of you expecting? To me, you already know there's stuff coming on. Watch what's going on with the UN with the food program, and they talking about they're using the word famine, FAMAINE, and in places where famine is not normal, things are culminating together. That's why I said the rapture of the church, I don't believe is too far away. I don't know when. Um, everybody got their thought process. They got the feast in which Jewish folks gonna happen and when this is supposed to. I don't know. What I will tell you is, it's not far, and whatever I'm gonna say, and I pray, like I said, Lord, whatever's in my life, please remove whatever you need to remove. Make sure I'm ready, because if you blow the trumpet, Shannon want to be out. I do not want to be here for what the rest of humanity is gonna have to go through once the church is out of here, because it's gonna be a mess. Oh boy, he gonna be nothing compared to that brother who gonna come on the scene. And that brother gonna be a hot mess. He gonna tell you one thing, look, oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. Tell y'all one thing, smile. And next thing you know, you either marching to the beat of the drummer, losing your head, being killed, whatever, because it's a done deal. You're hiding out, scrunching in the woods, living in bunkers, because you ain't gonna have too much options. And there's gonna be a lot of death during that time, a lot of death. COVID and everything else gonna make it look like a drop in the bucket compared to what's gonna happen during that time frame. That's not to scare people. That's just reality. And the Bible has shown too much of itself to be true. I mean, the evidences of biblical history can see. We know the planet was flooded. We can see that in the lines of the mountains. That's scientific. That's scientific. You go back and look at manna, they found out it's a fly or something. It's something it's like a paste, and how it produced. Girl, there's so much. There's so much. Y'all, hold on. That's what he needs to. Hold on. More power than him. We just have to use our common sense. No, and it's that's where you said you go back to the render under Caesar, what's Caesar's and God's what's God. So you deal with what you got to deal with on this planet as best you can. But and I agree, you need to deal with what you can as best you can. But at the end of the day, whatever is going to come out is going to come out. Like I said, nobody expected that individual to get in. There were prophetic things about him getting in through some of the Christian lines. But what gets me too is that we got so many Christians that I'm Christian, but all of a sudden that scripture that says I place kings, and now you act like, oh, the one who's in there ain't supposed to be. Oh, he cheated his way in. I don't know if I don't believe he cheated his way in, but if he did, he did. Whatever happened, happened, and ultimately he's sitting in that position. So therefore, this was meant. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's the same coin. There's been people who've gotten into leadership roles that we did not agree with across the world in different ways that may not have been right, but they ended up in those roles for whatever the intended purpose was for the time they were supposed to be there. I'm just saying. I saw something on that. Who was the one? I think it was Alaska Prepper. I watch him. And I think he did something. I didn't watch all of it. So am I shocked? Not really, because in certain countries, when I was in high school, I knew that over in the Middle East, crickets are considered to be a delicacy. And I think they blend them with honey. I just saw something fly. I wonder if I got a moth in here. I don't know. I think it's a delicacy. They blend it with honey. So I do know that about crickets. Um, I'm not shocked at what's going on. I can tell you food tastes odd. Me and another Christian friend of mine, we were saying that some of our food tastes different. And we were just mentioning that and talking about that. So it's like I'm going to get back out here for my fall garden. I got a drip system I'm going to see about putting in. I got some work to do, but hopefully between this week coming up, I will move between this room and now get the kitchen organized and then be out in the back patio. Well, I got to do my bedroom too, but be out in that back patio and start trying to get the drip system in and start planting for fall and try to get some fall food in and see if the drip system will help. Because I think me going out there watering, I wasn't doing it. I'm doing raised bags. Um, So see if I can get something from that. And then I'm also fighting the lizards. Fighting the lizards. I'm feeding the lizards. So we're gonna have to. I might have to get some netting and stuff. But what I will challenge you guys, and I do believe the food shortages, and like I said, one of the things I did, I started having dreams shortly after the pandemic. Maybe was it caused by the pandemic? I don't believe that because God always deals with my dreams. And I'm seeing now where there's pluses to what I was doing. Like I said, I can go in my kitchen and cook almost anything. And even today, I didn't necessarily have to go to the grocery store. I just wanted some fresh produce. I can make my own bread. I'm sitting on a, I'm sitting on my old cooler from the truck, which is full of flour. As long as there ain't no weebles in that flour, I can make my own bread. Um, I got pancake mix. Right now my water is diminishing. How many cases I got? Let's see, three, six, probably 6 cases, maybe 6 to 8 cases of water right now. That's going down, but I'll be working by the time I need another case. But even if I'm not working before the end, and I run out of water, I have a filtration system. So, yeah, I have a whole filtration system. Okay, and Flatbed is saying buy from local farm. You can buy. I don't have a freezer here. I'm gonna be Nikki supposedly I think has a refrigerator when she sells her house, and I'm gonna be taking that, which has another freezer on it. You can order a whole cow or a half a cow directly from farmers. If you do that, it isn't cheap, but you can go directly through the farmer. So you could actually do that in conjunction with friends, which is what is something that I am looking into. With I know Joe is interested, and maybe I might reach out to my friend Bridget or my friend Linda, and I'm figuring 3 of us go in on a cow. I think I forgot how many, but about 1,000 something. So we all would come in with several hundred, and then we could break it out, and you would have beef that would last you for a while. Um, that is an option. So it's something I have looked into locally. You can do that. If you have local farms around here, that's good. But I also say that if you have capability to grow yourself, you really need to grow yourself. I was hoping for a better outcome this year on my planting. Didn't have one. So I'm gonna do, and I same thing happened to me at the other apartment complex. I had my first go round wasn't good, and then I added in the Mister system, and then I added in the drip system, and that was a game changer. I had all three. I had the Mister system and the drip system going, and that game changed. I had bell peppers. I had my mint. My mint even died out here. I had my mint. I had bell peppers. I had broccoli. I had everything starting to pop. All sorts of vegetables were coming up. So, um, only thing I've grown here successfully has been jalapenos and sweet potatoes. And I have the sweet potato plant out there, might have some sweet potatoes in it. That's about the only thing that probably survived. My ginger was doing good, and then it just bit the dust too. So, um, yeah, we'll be looking at some things. Anyway, y'all, we're at 93 minutes. I'll be doing another live later. If y'all have comments, put them below. It was a pleasure chatting with all y'all. Grumpy. Fluffy Grandma is getting ready to go make something to eat because I haven't eaten. Well, I ate earlier, but I haven't eaten dinner. So I made, what did I make? I think I put it on there. And in the thumbnail picture for this video, I did it was my version of a Chipotle bowl. So I really was craving Chipotle. I like Chipotle. But, and my money is, I was like, well, the money you would spend at Chipotle, you could spend for fresh vegetables. And I had veggies in the refrigerator. So as y'all say, I had a can of black beans. I pulled that out. I have some beef. I had tons of meat up in the refrigerator. So I had a little beef steak. I cut that up and sauteed it. And I did everything separate. And then I have some rice packets that I need to use that I bought. Costco had a sale on these, like little nukeable rice packets. You know, it looks like I got 2 or 3 more I need to use up. And I need to use them because I think they on the expired date. But, you know, it's best used by. So it doesn't mean it's bad. It just needs you need to use it. So I heated those up and then put that in the bowl. And thank you, Famous Anonymous, and welcome to the channel, baby. Y'all like, thumbs up, share it out if it helps somebody. So I did that and put a bowl together. Cause then I was reading some of the comments and they were like 2 and 3 stars. No, under 3 stars for Chipotle's. People were saying they was getting sick off the food, and other folks were saying they was being kind of funky on the amounts. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. I just need to go ahead and make my own, and the money that I would be using there, I can go ahead and go to the grocery store and get some vegetables, which is what I did. So y'all definitely stock. I'm not telling you to get a bunker, but I'm not telling you not to. If the Lord leads you that way, you got to do what you got to do. As you know, this Shannon is 100% Christian. That is my thing now, all the way to the casket calls or to the rapture. And I'm really kind of hoping for the rapture ride because I'm curious. I am so curious. Because I'm thinking, whoa, what is that going to be like? I do not want to be here left afterwards because I already know what that's going to be like based on the description. And I'm good. I'm so cool on it. It's going to be straight madness. There is a movie out called Left Behind. Those are okay. I mean, they're decent. The one with Kirk Cameron would be my best choice. I didn't like the one with Nicolas Cage. 1 and 2 were decent. 3 kind of sucked. But I really recommend the book series, and they have the inactive version that you can get on Amazon for free. You'll listen to all the books, and it's very informative. I think that while they did it as a fictional based story, I think it's a good indication of what gets happened if you get left behind after a rapture happens. And it's not going to be your friend. I'm just going to say. When the rapture is going to happen, I don't know. Some people believe before things get crazy. Some people being right before, right in the middle of things being crazy. I don't know. I just believe He's going to rescue us out of the mess because I don't believe it's meant for us to go through the madness. I also think it's the way for the world to snap to and say God exists, and then to make a decision to go right or left for those who aren't making those decisions now. Y'all, 2 and 2, be blessed. I pray God does what He needs to touch you, reach you, and bless you. Be blessed. Peace. 2 and 2.